The standoff with Iran over its nuclear program is intensifying. A new report just released a few hours ago by the UN's nuclear watchdog is setting off alarms with little evidence that Iran is backing down from its nuclear ambitions. Straight now to CNN's Matthew Chan. So Matthew, what did the UN's nuclear watchdogs find?
Well, firstly, Don, it criticised Iran for continuing to fail to cooperate with UN inspectors in terms of answering the questions about the alleged military dimensions of Iran's very controversial nuclear program. There are still lots of nuclear scientists the UN wants to interview. They've been prevented from meeting. There's still lots of sites that the inspectors want to inspect to see what activities have been taking place there, and they've been essentially denied access to those locations. And so the report on the one hand was very critical of that. It also sent alarming messages, according to diplomats I spoke to who have expressed this alarm and concern, that Iran has increased significantly its capacity to enrich uranium just over the past 3 months since the last report was set out. It's doubled the number of centrifuges inside one nuclear facility at a place called Fordow, which is buried inside a mountain to protect it from airstrikes. It's doubled the ability of its scientists to enrich uranium. That means that it will be able to produce nuclear material much quicker than it could previously, and that's something that's of great concern to countries like the United States that view Iran's nuclear activities with very deep suspicion, Don.
Absolutely. And speaking of the United States, U.S. President Barack Obama just said this week that he believed there was a, quote, window of time to peacefully resolve this with Iran. But what are the implications now, Matthew?
Well, I mean, the implications are that if Iran were to make use of its new increased capacity to make nuclear material for a weapon, and it hasn't said that it will do this, it said quite the opposite, in fact, then that would mean that that window of opportunity that President Obama was talking about would get narrower. At the moment, though, I think it's important to point out that Iran is still staying well clear of the sort of line in the sand, the red line, that it would cross to provoke any kind of military response. It still doesn't have the kind of nuclear material or indeed the other technologies necessary to build a nuclear weapon, at least not for some significant time in the future, Don.
Matthew Chan, thank you, sir.